Hello, welcome to Cool Trip Walks. We are the walking channel that provides virtual scenery for treadmill walkers and or videos for travel research. And today we are in Concord, North Carolina, and this is the Frank Liske Park, and this would be, I would call it the Frank Liske Trail, and it's a loop that goes around the park and is known to be a wetlands. And we have quite the good temperature today. It is 66 degrees Fahrenheit and 19 degrees Celsius. So we have a cool morning, and it's about 9:30. Nope, almost 10 o'clock. And we are here in early September. So an unusually cool September morning for us in North Carolina, but a good one. Looked really gloomy. Had to fight against myself to get out here and take a walk today. Just for any new guests that are watching the channel, I am your host. I am Tom, and what I do is I go on these trails or places and film a walk, and I do kind of narrate as I go along. If that is not your thing, by all means, cue up your playlist, enjoy the scenery, get lost, lose yourself in the scenery if you'd like. But, if you want to listen to a contemplative chat while we look at the scenery and see if we find cool things along the way, I hope you stick around. And let's start this off. We have a really cool little creek here. And this is kind of the promise of this trail, which is why we're here today, because it is kind of a wetlands trail. And I wanted to see if we could find the little waterfalls. They had these small little waterfalls listed online. And I am a big fan of water features, be it lakes or streams or waterfalls or coasts and mountains, anything that's really scenic. Just get outside and enjoy what's here, right? And today I'm trying something new. As you go along creating a channel, and I've been at it for almost a year now, you get out there, you're trying to do your thing, and you dive in, and then you just kind of work on the nuances. Pardon me while I check the map. Fighting with my sunglasses too. So I guess this is the way. So, as I was saying, working on a channel, you go in with expectations. You say, okay, I've got the gear, or might have an idea of how to do some post-editing. And you find out things. Oh, hey, maybe I can learn how to do this better or something else. And one thing I noted when we were on our Italy walks, and I had my son participate for the first time, and I lit up my second DJI Mic 2, was just the sound change on the video. And it wasn't something that I could focus on at the time. And I probably should have known this, but I didn't. And turns out that they only record in mono. Being the former audiophile that I am, kind of like one of those threads on a sweater. You just want to pull at that and improve it eventually. And so I'm trying 2 mics today, because apparently that does record in stereo. So hopefully it's Cool Trip Walks in stereo. But it looks like the post-processing does take the mono source and stereoify it. And I did just add a new editing tool. So I will definitely be using that to make sure everything is in stereo. And it's really cool when you're presented a fork in the path, as I was before I turned on the camera. And you're like, ooh, do I go left? Do I go right? I think it's a right turn. And I cut off a little bit of the trail, but I got to this pond we have here in the park a little quicker that way. And Frank Liske Park, a little bit about that. So Frank Liske was a gentleman who worked at this facility, which used to be basically a farm school. So this is going back into the 1950s. And you could come here, and it was a working farm, and learn about that profession before going off to the farm to learn to do your work. And Frank Liske had worked at the farm school for over 50 years. And he was instrumental in securing the acreage of this park for recreational use. So it is named after him. And it is quite an impressive little park, too, here in Concord. There's some paddle boat rentals across the pond here. I don't know if you can see that. Canoe rentals, so you can get out there. There are facilities here for rent, so if you have a social occasion, you can do that as well. And obviously, the walking trail here is good for bikes and running and walking. But so I was driving into the park, I was like really impressed. It's a good town, urban, if you almost, park that you just don't, I didn't really even know it was here. And that's part of why I started this channel, is to get out to new places. And sometimes a cool trip isn't somewhere far like Italy, like I've been with this channel. It could be just 30 minutes outside your door. And here we are. Now, for you wondering if you have a DJI or interested in the Pocket Osmo 3, it does on the camera have a couple of mics and it records that in stereo. However, once you light up a mic 2, then it goes off that source, which is again mono. So the nice benefit of the mic 2 is that it does have a nice windscreen, and places like I've been, we were in Seceda in Italy, which is up at 8,000 feet of elevation, and you know there were strong breezes in this. Hopefully you watch the video later. Don't hear much of it, so it does a really spectacular job in noise reduction. Unfortunately, not stereo. Hopefully there will be some improvement in that in the future. In this creek, the trail follows the creek, or the creek follows the trail. So we're getting to see it along the way here. Get a little closer. No little waterfalls yet, but fairly peaceful. I was worried driving in here. Once again, I dashed out, gotta get filming. And I left bug spray on the counter. So I'm like, well, if it's a wetland trail, like I said, might be a target for mosquitoes, which on the U.S. East Coast this year is a real problem. But it seems to be a little bit more northeast, where you have the triple E, the triple E virus and West Nile virus. And Of course, Florida has its viruses too. I'm sure it'll catch up to us here, but for the moment, it hasn't been problematic, knock on wood. And I am going to follow it up the hill. And they do have some really great recreational facilities here, ball fields, soccer fields. Looks like we have some beach volleyball over here. A couple rental facilities. As you can see, we have a kind of a gloomy day here, which is a little unusual. We get a lot of good weather here in North Carolina. I have to say I am very spoiled by it. We go out and expect the blue skies almost daily. We truly don't get a just genuinely cloudy day very often. But we have one today. No rain forecast though. We have a playground over here. There's a few. I think I mentioned it in other videos. I grew up in the Northeast, specifically New England. So you wait 10 minutes, the weather changes. And we had a lot of gloomy days. So while you get spoiled by it, I don't take it for granted. Could be gloomier. Well, this looks new. As you can tell by the age of the fence wood here, we're getting a little mini golf course. That is fun. We'll have to bring the boys here once it's open. And if you have any questions about the Charlotte region or you're contemplating visiting, please feel free to ask questions in discussion, or if you've had positive experiences here, we'd love to hear about them. Interacting in the discussions is quite fun when it's positive. So I always welcome that. Here's some of those soccer fields up ahead that I was mentioning. And as always, if you enjoy our content, please hit that like button and subscribe. We are growing. It's a little on the slow side, but that's to be expected with a virtual walk channel. But we welcome subscribers and those who like our videos. So feel free to click those so that it continues to fuel the enthusiasm to go forward. And I thank all those who have done that. It really does mean a lot. So I did mention that this was a farm school, and there is a barn somewhere that is rentable for occasions. So I'm not sure if we'll see that on this walk, but it's something we'll look for. And even driving here, I had to come a new way that I haven't driven. And I've been in the area for about 20 years. And so I just happen to have one of those brains where once I drive someplace, I kind of have a map in my head. Don't have this kind of recall for a lot of things, but maps I do. And then I'll remember it. I could go drive to my grandmother's house in Niagara Falls or in that area. She's not here anymore, but I could still drive there. I know the way in my head. I'd get there, and I haven't been there in probably 30 years. So it filled in a few blanks in my brain map today. It's like, oh, it's this way, and this connects to that. Interesting. So another benefit of getting out and exploring your locality and state. Get to be a little bit more knowledgeable about where you would live. And I apologize in advance. We have a lawn tractor out here cutting the soccer pitch, so you could get a little noise from that. So it's been an interesting 9 months of filming. Started locally because that was easiest and lowest cost to do. We had plans to travel abroad, so took the camera with me and got some excellent episodes in Italy. And boy, I sure wish I could do more of that because, one, it's fantastic to experience personally, and two, it's so scenic that you're seeing these places you've seen pictures of, most of your life or a lot of your life, and to be there is something that's an incredible thing to feel. Like parts of Tuscany that we visited, amazing. When we went to Venice last year, it's like, wow, we're really here. The canals are real. This is not just a movie. So, we're back on the U.S. leg again and exploring new places here. And hopefully we will have a few more non-local trips for you. Looking at doing something in South Carolina in the next month or so. And we also have some post-Christmas travel plans. We're headed to the north. My wife and sons are North Carolina born, unlike me, who was born in the Northeast. So I had my 30 plus years of winters back when the earth was cooler and we had winter. So I experienced a lot of that. The snowfall, getting old with the snow, it's just like, hey man, I want the snow to go away. But my family has not. And we're going to go to Montreal, Canada. So I will be filming as many cold episodes as I possibly can while we're there. And hopefully that will be a good way to welcome in the new year. and a good way to experience another culture. They don't want to be called French, they're Quebecois, but the general French culture is not one I've experienced firsthand, so that will be a new experience. My wife and I have traveled to St. Lucia, which was a French holding at one time, but certainly has its own flair as well. So, but we were at an all-inclusive, so we didn't get too far into the culture there. It was just right for us at the time. Now I think I'd be more adventurous and want to see more, and we're going to do that in the cold of Montreal. I'm kind of excited. I'm hoping I see big ice on the St. Lawrence River. Having had relatives up on and around Lake Ontario, all the Great Lakes exit through the St. Lawrence River to the Atlantic. So seeing that there should be impressive. All right. So they have a disc golf course here. That's fun. Something I should take up soon with my boys. And as I was driving here, I'm reminded of how populous the area is. I passed a townhome city that wasn't there previously. A lot of apartments. And I just read in the Charlotte Observer yesterday that we are now equal on population growth with Atlanta. So a lot of people looking to move here to Charlotte, of which Concord is a bedroom community too. I think as an unintended consequence of starting this channel, I'm just finding out how much nature we have available to us here. And walking these trails has had a lot of variety. We have some railroad tracks over here. I'm looking at doing a railway park walk in Charlotte, or right around the outskirts of Charlotte, so we should see some Charlotte scenery on that walk. Might film that in a couple weeks. And I may very well revisit the park that I went to for the very first episode, because as with always the first things, it's the hardest. It was winter, it was January, and it wasn't its most picturesque, like with the beautiful trees we have here today. And it was high on the learning curve for yours truly, so might pick a easier trail than that first trail, which really was a bit aggressive. And see what it has to offer there. A lot of trails there, so Pick a little more picturesque one than the first one I picked. And there's one of the disc golf baskets over there. It's like hole number 9. Sign said, "Beware of discs." And for those that enjoy regular golf, the Carolinas are a wealth of golf courses. I used to like that sport. That was before I had 2 wonderful little guys, sons, and I just can't justify to myself stealing away 3 to 5 hours for a loop of golf. I should, but it's been so long now, I would be very, very bad. Not that I was any good, so I think I'd rather take a walk. We have a rooster over here. It was a farm school. It does look like our cloudy day is going to burn off as the afternoon goes on. Again, it's always like the thing going to the gym where you just, I don't know, I'm one of those people that unfortunately it's very hard to motivate myself to do it. And since I've switched to walks and treadmill and exercise bike, and I don't really go to a gym anymore, it's really hard to excuse yourself from going. But once you get there, it's fine. And you're glad you got there. But that motivation is really tough sometimes. That's partly why I also do these walks, not only to get myself out and healthier, but adding to the virtual scenery for treadmill walkers, like myself, just so you have something new to watch while you're walking. Just gonna stop here, take a view. It's the way I came in today. We'll let the traffic go by, so we'll take the view. This is the 10th hole for those that are counting. It's a nice fairway for disc golf. Morning. There's a dog in this field that probably would love to go after a frisbee. My little dog was just a little on the little side, and she's much too mature now to do Frisbee fetch gets in the way of her sleeping. Some nice older growth trees here. I like when they can leave trees like this in a park when they're making their trails. Be interesting to see what they do with these rail lines. I know that the commuter rail system is growing, or there's talks and plans of bringing it more northward on the side of the highway system where I'm at. And I'm sure they'll have some lines to come up here to this. Concord is kind of up in the northeast a little bit of the 85 highway, north-south. And 85 would take you on through Raleigh and down to Atlanta. So it's a large southeast highway. May not be soon, but I suspect these rail lines would get used, maybe. They're certainly not used right now with the level of growth we have out there. It's a little overgrown, but there are lines out there, rail lines. I haven't seen the waterfalls I saw pictures of. Not sure we're going to find them, but we'll see. have a ways yet to go. My luck, it'll be the part that I cut out accidentally. Uh-oh, we have a fork in the trail. Which way to go? I think I'll just keep going a little bit this way. It's more trail-like. Yes, that one leads towards a picnic area. Oh no, I didn't take the proper trail. We will backtrack a little bit. It happens. This is where having a good app for hiking does come in handy. Granted, this is only a park, but if you go to, more wilderness type trails, if you have a navigation app of some kind that is useful for trail walking, better to follow that than guessing your way through. Because you might guess wrong. And there's my turn. All right, we are approaching the end of the trail, so I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for visiting us here at Cool Trip Walks, and I, encourage you to come back and visit again so we can keep walking together. And as always, I hope you achieved your workout goals today, and we'll come and visit again. Have a great day.